Hey there, everyone. I hope you are all doing good. Today we are going to have a look at the Serge GTS, the successor to the DUSG, the Dual Universal Slope Generator. It is one of those cult and typical patch programmable module, and this one is quite interesting to compare with the Make Noise Math, because just out of history, the Make Noise Math was somewhat of the answer of having to patch the Bananalog Slope module with a polarizing mixer from Doppler in order to do some feedback patches to change the curves. And so Tony Rolando at Make Noise had the idea to basically combine two slopes and a mixer, and this is how Math was born. Now, fun that Serge today has made this exact same decision in the new GTS, which is basically two slope circuits, identical, and a CV processor in the middle, which will give you a sum of the two sides plus two additional inputs that you can scale and invert. So let's start by listening to it. This is also why I have Math here. It is healthy, I think, to compare the two and to see where one beat the other. We are going to start straight away with what's the best about the DUSG and the GTS is that it is a great oscillator and a very good audio rate tool. So here we have the sound of one channel of the DUSG through this LXD low pass gate that we are going to use as a VCA. I really like the sound of the DUSG through this actual module. You can see the direct output of the GTS here, which is right now a saw wave. Because we have rise at the minimum and playing with the fall does create a falling function that is cycling on itself because I have that little switch down. Straight away, one thing that's really good about the GTS is that it has a 1 volt per octave input. So it is very easy to send any sequencers or whatever into it. Right now, this is something that doesn't have any proper 1 volt per octave calibration, though. But later, we will plug a key step. This is just for demonstration. Let's say that I want to have not only that saw wave, but also the square output. Or pulse, which is called end. If I want to blend those two, I could patch the pulse to the aux input 1, grab the sum output, patch it back here. Let's monitor the sum. So right now I have the pulse. I could subtract the pulse. We could decide to create some harmonics. So let's grab again that pulse. Trigger the second side and add it to the game. It is now triggered by this side. But playing with rise and fall will give us subharmonic divisions. If we wanted those divisions to track, we could send the same 1 volt per octave. So we now have a proper sub-oscillator, but that we can still control. I've made a track which was basically this patch all the time. I'll put a link in the description. This sounds super good. We could actually cycle both. And instantly have a 2 oscillator patch going out of the sum here. If you don't specifically care about 1 volt per octave, these make great triangle wave oscillator. And in that case, you can use both. Like this, or actually use one to modulate the other as well. We are monitoring the sum, so we can still listen to both at the same time. Which is useful to bring back the fundamental pitch, while the other is playing the FM tones. Basically, you have one clean oscillation that's doing the pitch thing, and one that's getting lots of modulation. So you suddenly grab the math to use as mostly LFO so far, but I find that Math is great at LFO and envelopes, but never sound as good as this one at audio rate. Let's quickly compare the audio output of Math and the DUSG so you can get an idea of the difference. Here's my output. This is the DUSG. So a bit bassier and a bit louder because this output 8 volts, while this output 5 volts. Yeah, definitely less. Doesn't have the bite. This one bites as hell. This is the square output. Again, if you take the sum, you can blend in the square wave. So let's take the unipolar out, cycle this one, and use it as our clock envelope. The bipolar output is inverted, which is why it looks weird, but we could make it exponential by sending it back on itself. If you send that directly to both, you have control over rise and fall to make it either exponential or anti-exponential. Okay, now we have a proper 1 volt per octave setup with the key step. And this side is getting the gate at the input, which will make it act as a slew. So rise will be attack. You can see that it's reversed actually. Only the gates that are long enough are going to pass through. But it really analyzes the gate. The long gate that we can hear are actually tied. And it will act completely different if we use the trigger input. Right now it seems actually almost the same, but we don't have that tie anymore, because every time it gets a gate, it just triggers the function. And both rise and fall are actually dividing time. They will ignore new triggers until they complete their cycle. Which is why it is extremely fun to send very fast clock into it and then to control rise and fall. the Serge funk. Let's activate as well the control over the filter. Let's go bandpass. Add some resonance. This is good. Now let's switch to math. Going to back down the gain CV because it will be louder because of the 8-volt thing. Okay, now let's start. To control as well rise and fall. Here it's only rise that will ignore the triggers and make things longer, while fall will always re-trigger, so it makes it a bit easier to use as a standard envelope. But you also miss that funny part that is typical of Serge DUSGs, which is sometimes a pain in the ass, but sometimes awesome. Also, the math can become exponential or logarithmic at the twist of one knob, which is very convenient. No patching needed. But also some very fun stuff happen when you have to patch it. Now that this one is free from being an envelope, we could cycle it but slowly and make it an LFO. Now I'm controlling the filter with audio rate thing. Now we are going to try to use this side as a VCA and filter, because it also sounds very good. Very weird, but very good. So we are going to use the output of this guy to the input, which is going to pass through here without using the filters. So now, rise and fall are going to affect the waveform. Sounds a bit like a lo-fi, bit crushy filter. You will notice that it also makes it dead silent if we lower it enough, which is why it's great to use as sort of low-pass gate-ish VCA. Here I have an envelope from math, and I'm going to control both rise and fall with it. You have to adjust to taste. I do really like it. You can make it some sort of asymmetrical, which adds some of this fuzzy sort of distortion. It's also an envelope follower if you ask it. If we take directly this time the output of the VCO, filter this, and send the output of the 880, adjust fall, we can see that the LED is showing us some action. we could change the curve of this envelope following by feeding the module back on itself. Here, for example, I made it super exponential, which is quite interesting. It does sound very good. The envelope from Matt to change the pitch. So many interesting combo we can do with this simple case. Not even use the PAM as much as I thought I would. Mainly about the sound of this to me, actually. Of course, envelope following is fun when you start to change the pattern. So many stuff to do with this module. I find it much better as an envelope follower than it is on my Serge system. I haven't used it that much, to be honest, in that situation. To know that there's also pick and drop, these max and min outputs, which are actually quite fun to do some wave shaping with. If instead of taking one of the bipolar out or the sum out, in order to combine two waveforms, could use the max out, which is a logic output, or gate actually, which outputs only the maximum value. Which allow to make very different blend. That sounds a little bit like some sort of ring modulation, even though it's not actually, but... Min, don't be fooled, works. But the threshold is set by this, which is actually an offset if there's nothing patched here. If you patch another control here, it will become the offset. Use it as some sort of a VCA plus combiner thing. But the threshold here is the envelope that lets pass the minimum thing, which is the sum of those two. This is max. Min, we threshold at max. Sum. if you have an offset in the sum, makes some weird stuff. To try to hear how this will sound through this. As a filter, it does sound awesome. We have now both signals together. Let me remove the clean one. This is the sound of the 880 through the GTS without any modulation. This sounds so good. Oh, this is awesome. Get lots of weird nonlinear distortions. Also, of course, if you take that red output, which is the square or the gate, depending on what you do, what's your level, you can actually get some fuzz sound. Or you can derive gate from your audio signal. Yeah. Here's the fuzz. Let's take the sum. And add the gate to this. This is good. LFO this. Better with the unipolar out. Awesome glitchy weirdness. If you cycle it, you get even more fuzzy things. Slight influence of what you put inside. I guess that's it, because there's so much to talk about, and I think I've made a lot of experiments which show how good this is. It's very good. It's very, very good. So yeah, go check it out if you're interested. I will make a sample packet of this for my Patreon, and feel free to go check it out if you want maybe as well some teaching. And you can buy some stuff from the affiliate links below if you're interested as well, to support the channel that way. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you have one? Do you have the DUSG? Which one do you prefer? Would you get both with math? Do you need more math, more DSGs, more GTS? See you next time. Bye-bye.